Presently, Zana Caeserius is the final master we rendezvous with in Path of Exile. Alongside the master cartographer, we explore the terrifying and limitless realms of existence known as maps with the map device in the Atlas of Worlds. Will Zana ever be a villain in Path of Exile? This is RJ. Welcome to another Path of Exile video on talkative Triceratops. In this video, we will delve into the mystery of Zana's potential villainy and the Atlas of Worlds, just as the story is about to evolve in Path of Exile's next expansion, Siege of the Atlas. Enjoy. For many years, Zana, the Shaper, and the Elder formed the foundation of Path of Exile's endgame narrative. As Herculean exiles of Oriath, we contributed to the tremendous defeat of the Shaper, the Elder's conclusive imprisonment, and Zana's ultimate victory against both villains. In the Path of Exile of January 2022, Zana, our story, and the grand mystery around her continue to coalesce, greatly deepened by the 2019 Conquerors of the Atlas Endgame overhaul. We still kill for Zana, even moments before the release of Siege of the Atlas. But how exactly did Conquerors of the Atlas expand on Zana's character and double down on the possibility of her becoming a villain in the future? Well, that's the crux of this mystery within the world of Rayclast. To truly understand how Zana might become a villain, we must understand her relationship with the Conquerors of the Atlas from both her point of view and theirs. Currently, the endgame story of Path of Exile is simple. We rebuild the map device with the help of Kirak to find his brother, Baron, who might be inside. We use the map device to enter the Atlas of Worlds, and we begin exploring maps. We then find Zana, and she scolds us, reciting that she locked herself and a group of powerful exiles in the Atlas to protect Rayclast. After, at Zana's behest, we find each of these exiles and slay them, one by one, so that they may not use their amassed power to conquer Rayclast, in addition to the Atlas of Worlds. Then, the Conquerors of the Atlas story climaxes with the death of the most powerful and most insane of the exiles, Cyrus, the Awakener of Worlds, and a mysterious apology from Zana to his obliterated corpse. Finally, we visit Zana in the Kururi shores to close out the narrative, and Zana tells us this. Quote, "But at least you're done now, right, exile? You'll leave the Atlas alone, right?" End quote. Chilling, eh? Despite Zana's concerns, we, the exile, know better. The vast majority of exiles do not leave the Atlas of Worlds after initially defeating Cyrus. They continue to enter map after map, world after world, ad infinitum, amassing power, wealth, and rare items, becoming far deadlier than any of the Conquerors of the Atlas. We become metaphorical gods of Rayclast and the vast Atlas of Worlds. Reflecting on Zana's aforementioned quote, what might this mean for us? What if this means Zana's next target is us? What if Zana seeks to seal us in the Atlas, just as she did to the Conquerors? Will Zana ever be a villain in Path of Exile? An endgame boss on the level of Cyrus, the Maven, or the Elder? Perhaps even in Siege of the Atlas. Let's collect the evidence in favor of this chilling, possible future. The Atlas of Worlds inspires insanity in those who traverse maps within it. Marauders and shadows, Templars and witches, all are driven mad after exploring these dreamy worlds. But not Zana, not the daughter of the Shaper. Time after time, she reminds us that the Atlas drives folk to insanity, causes them to pursue unthinkable desires, even after spending mere moments beside or inside it. However, Zana has been around maps, the map device, and the Atlas of Worlds for the majority of her life. Her mother passed when she was young, and her father disappeared into the Atlas long ago. Alas, she kept studying it all of these coordinates to other worlds. Yet she's not descended into madness. She appears incorruptible by its dark whispers. Haunting, no? As the story surrounding the Atlas of Worlds has progressed, Zana has learned more and more about it. Some she shares with us, some she doesn't. She discovered the presence of the Elder. She found her father inside and deciphered that he was the Shaper, a key player in the Atlas. She picked up fragments of her father's memory and immersed herself in the bountiful Atlas of Worlds. How peculiar that she's unaffected by it, and she is able to traverse it with such relative ease. Through all her quests, she has continued to enlist our help and explore the Atlas, all while staying sane. At the epic conclusion of the Elder Shaper saga, she decided the corruption of the Atlas was not emerging from the Elder like she had previously believed. It was teeming from the Atlas itself. Anyone traveling in it or using it was bound to become corrupted, doomed to go utterly mad. Everyone except herself, right? All of this is just too coincidental. Now we're in the present, or what is currently the present, with Conquerors of the Atlas. What evidence against Zana do we find in this expansion of Path of Exile? The Conquerors of the Atlas expansion destroyed the Elder Shaper story as we knew it, and introduced a brand new endgame narrative. We meet Kirak, a loudmouthed member of the Citizen Vanguard of Oriath, who helps us rebuild the map device to enter the Atlas of Worlds and find Zana and his brother Tharin. He warns about the Atlas and its mysterious, corruptive methods, but we enter anyway, of course, in search of people and power. Quickly, we recover Zana, who explains to us that she locked herself and her exiled companions in the Atlas of Worlds, including Baron, because she feared what they'd do if they entered the real world again. Together, she, Baron, Alhazmin, Varitania, Drox, and Cirrus had trapped the Elder at great cost, the sanity of everyone except her. This group now, not us, the Exile, are the canon folk who defeated the Elder and the Shaper. They are the Elder Slayers. Zana lets us know that they've gone mad because... Quote, "I thought we were done, but my companions just kept returning. Over and over again, they would enter the Atlas, wiping clean entire worlds. It wasn't about saving Oriath or discovery. It was just killing." End quote. Because of their insanity and lust for more power, she locked them and herself in the Atlas. But oh, we were able to find her and release her with ease. Soon after, her and Kirak team up to try and find and kill each of these lost exiles to prevent their takeover of Rayclast. We find each one. Baron, the Crusader. Varitania, the Redeemer. Alhazmin, the Hunter. Drox, the Warlord. And lastly, mysteriously, Cirrus, the Awakener of Worlds. With Zana's knowledge, we go on a rampage through the Atlas. We hunt down the Conquerors of the Atlas. As we slay each exile inside, they mutter a line of sympathy, anger, or helplessness, and they drop a journal with their side of the story. All of them conflict with Zana's. Though each account is slightly different, one opinion is clear. Zana locked them in the Atlas of Worlds, while most of them were still sane. Their forced stay in the Atlas sparked their insanity and evil-mindedness in the Atlas. Why would Zana lie to us? Is she simply misremembering? Is the Atlas tainting her mind? Only time will tell. It's just more evidence. For now, let's see exactly how each Conqueror's story clashes with Zana's, starting with Baron. He calls Zana his party's guide. In his journal, he writes that Zana claimed the map device mysteriously broke, meaning they could never leave the Atlas. During this time, he's still completely sane, writing about his lost love still living in Rayclast. Then, it details the imprisonment of the Elder thanks to Zana, and, most of all, Cirrus, who sacrificed himself to lock the Elder away. Moments later, Baron claims that Cyrus broke out in a state of pure insanity and attacked the group. They had no choice but to retreat, but when they did, they discovered Zana had closed their way of escape. She'd sealed them in the Atlas that she previously had said broke. Baron then tells the reader to leave the Atlas if they're reading this journal, to never return. In his final entry, Baron expresses remorse for Cyrus, who does appear to have gone mad, in addition to his want to punish Zana Caeserius for locking him and his group in the Atlas. Tints of madness are present in this final entry, but this is long after Zana locked Baron away. What has the master cartographer done? Time for Veritania. Her journal entries begin by acknowledging how the Atlas plays on its visitors' deepest desires. She is aware this is happening and actively shuns it off. Quickly, though, she references the loss of Cyrus and the descent of each conqueror into their special kind of madness. Drox is forging a kingdom. Alhazmeen wants to be stronger than all other creatures, and Baron is being a religious zealot. It appears that what Zana said about them going insane is true in Veritania's eyes, but this is after being locked in the Atlas for an undisclosed amount of time. Veritania continues to see them descend and struggles to find a way out, knowing the Atlas does corrupt and is corrupting her companions. In her final entry, she addresses us and seems to have gone insane, finally. She wishes to slaughter the selfish and repugnant, those who fit the description Zana gives of the Elder Slayers. However, this is long after being sealed inside. Zana turned this priest into a killer, a zealot. How about Alhazmeen? The Hunter's Journal is interesting. He starts by writing brief tidbits about each member, besides Cyrus. For Zana, he says this:
Zana, hiding something important. Not sure what yet. Probably related to what happened to the previous group. Keeps checking on us.
He then speaks about some kind of relationship between Zana and Cyrus, questioning if Cyrus likes Zana. Afterward, he praises himself, stating that he is the greatest hunter alive. So this is his weakness, arrogance. He continues rambling in his next entry, saying how much better than Baron he is. He also points out the romantic tension between Zana and Cyrus. This is still before the battle with the Elder, where Cyrus sacrifices himself. His final entry was most likely written after Cyrus's sacrifice, and it's about us, maybe. He says he saw a new person speaking to Zana, one stronger than other exiles. He speaks of killing this person, and then killing Drox. Okay, so he's an incredibly bloodthirsty, arrogant assassin, just like many others in Rayclast. The insanity and power Zana was scared about still doesn't seem present. How much did she embellish on their madness? Now, let's do Drox. Of all the Conquerors, Drox seems the craziest. His journals start after the defeat of the Elder and Shaper. He writes of his desire to carve out a kingdom of righteousness in the Atlas, ruled by the people's respect and not fear or religion. That's all. By his final entry, he's only talked about the growth of his kingdom and his power, not about Zana or the other Conquerors. Strange. And finally, Cyrus. His journals speak of his leadership and his love for Zana. He's in the Atlas for her, not for anything or anyone else. However, he's not told her this. Before the fight with the Elder, he tells himself he will reveal his love for her, but then he sacrifices himself to trap the Elder. When he does, he can still see all of his companions and feels like he's trapped in glass for countless years. Then he watches them leave. All of them, including her, including Zana. After this, Cyrus snaps. He doesn't grow insane, according to his journal. He becomes empty and sees the universe for what it is, like him, empty. This snap can be compared to insanity from the eyes of mortals, but it's not the bloodlust and madness described by Zana before we begin our rampage. And that's it. That's what we know from the perspective of the Elder Slayers. Zana locked the Conquerors away after Cyrus sacrificed himself to seal the Elder away. According to their journals, They were still sane, albeit with their problems. Baron was preachy, Veritania thought others were stupid, El-Hazmin was arrogant, and Drox wanted to rule everything by law. Cirrus lost all emotion. Perhaps Zana locked them in to save the world from Cirrus, who had either absorbed the power of the Elder or the raw magic locked inside the Atlas and wanted to end it all, to draw everything into the void. Maybe she sealed them in to see what would happen, how they would react to the corruption of the Atlas. It's likely she couldn't bear to share with the world what had happened within the Atlas and sought to save Oriath. Or perhaps she is some sort of eldritch horror. Regardless, from the Elder Slayer's point of view, Zana is a villain. Zana cost them their lives. This, truly, is still a mystery. It appears that Zana skewed the story to us when we found her, claiming that all the Conquerors were insane and that's why she sealed the Atlas. In truth, maybe only Cirrus was empty and angry, so she broke the map device and refused to let her and her companions out because of Cirrus. Then, and only then, did the rest of the Conquerors go mad. Once she was saved, she knew the Elder Slayers and Cirrus especially were too powerful, too dangerous, and needed to be purged. Else the world would end. So what does this mean for us? We're just like the Conquerors. We clear map after map, gaining power, collecting items, and growing a kingdom of our own inside the Atlas of Worlds. What happens when Zana thinks we've gone insane? Her famous line, "Still sane, exile," isn't much of a greeting anymore. It's a threat. As exiles, we need to be terrified of Zana. Her father engineered the map device as we know it. She figured out how to seal the Elder away. She seems immune to the Atlas's corruption and has no true remorse of locking poor souls away in the endless dreamscape, until the bitter end. It's for the good of Rayclast, after all. So who's to say after this ordeal with Cirrus and the rest of the Elder Slayers, she won't try to bring us down, or lock us in the Atlas? I don't think it's a matter of it happening or not. I think it's a matter of when it is happening. Just look at the evidence. Zana is incorruptible by the map device. Zana immerses herself in maps in the Atlas. She likely wants no one else to fully wield their power. Zana managed to defeat all other masters of the Atlas alongside us, including the Elder and the Shaper. Zana completely changed the stories of the Elder Slayers and turned us against them. She even locked them inside the Atlas and likely caused their insanity. All of her conversations with us hold some sort of villainous innuendo, from her final lines after the obliteration of Cirrus to her haunting greeting, "Still sane, exile." Zana will turn on us. However, I don't think she's evil. Lots of the theories out there posit that Zana is an eldritch being formed by the Nightmare who corrupts all of the people around her. The Shaper, exiles going into the Atlas of Worlds, and now us. I don't believe she's evil incarnate. When Zana turns on us, it will be for the good of Rayclast, and perhaps like Cirrus before her, she will sacrifice herself in a battle against us, the slayer of the Conquerors of the Atlas. She'll think we're a monster in her own mind, becoming a villain trying to do what she thinks is right. But what happens then? If Zana is gone, who helps us enter the Atlas and continue grinding map after map? Well, that's where Kirac comes in. Now that we have Kirac, Zana is free to become the new endgame boss of Path of Exile. She will be the Uber Elder of Conquerors of the Atlas. Step aside, Maven. There's a new woman of power in Rayclast. Or that's what I thought would happen, until Siege of the Atlas. The Conquerors and probably Kirac are about to disappear. But what about Zana? We will fight and defeat Zana, Master of the Atlas. Eventually. Maybe even during Siege of the Atlas. All of these eldritch entities that are about to arrive to the Atlas, we will battle them. We will grow powerful, more powerful than ever before. And once we amass enough might by eviscerating these horrors from other dimensions, Zana will turn on us. First, these foes will siege the Atlas, and we'll save it. But keep the Atlas. Keep it to continue gaining power. And Zana will turn on us. In an ultimate twist, Zana will in turn siege us, siege the Atlas, and become the Uber Elder of Siege of the Atlas. She will wield the power of the Atlas against us and try to lock us all inside. If not now, when? Before Path of Exile 2 releases, we will face off against Zana, the final monster remaining. It's going to be during this expansion. I can feel it. Too long have eldritch horrors dominated the Endgame. From the Conquerors and their projections to the Elder and the Shaper and the Maven, it's time for one of our own, one of our masters, to turn on us just as Katarina did long ago. Ready yourself, Exile, for we will combat the Master of the Atlas soon enough. Do you think Zana will ever be a villain in Path of Exile? Why or why not? Let me know. But understand, it is inevitable. This is RJ. Thanks for watching another Path of Exile video on talkative Triceratops. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Farewell.